The strongest move you'll ever make is the one no one anticipates. And that single truth sets the foundation for everything ahead. In a world where everyone seems eager to be seen, posting, announcing, showcasing their dreams, very few are actually doing the work. You hear them all the time, talking about where they're headed, what they want, how hard they're trying. But here's the secret they miss: talking builds nothing. The foundation of real success is built in silence, in the hours nobody counts, in the discipline nobody applauds. That's what this journey is about. It's not about letting the world know your plans. It's about making those plans matter. It's about focusing behind the scenes, then letting the outcome do the speaking. You don't need a stage, a cheerleader, or an audience. What you need is consistency. Quiet, steady, unshakable commitment. You show up. You get better. And you trust that the day will come when your work speaks louder than anything you could have said. This is a guide for people who are ready to stop performing and start producing. For those who are tired of pretending to move forward and want to actually build momentum. If you're ready to protect your focus, guard your energy, and stay on your path with discipline, this is where it begins. You don't have to say a word. Just begin. Close your mouth and get real about your life. That's where it starts. Not with plans or promises, not with declarations or announcements, but with a decision, a quiet, serious moment with yourself where you admit the truth. You're done wasting time. You're done putting off what needs to be done. You're done faking like it's all okay when deep down you know it's not. That one private decision is what changes everything. You don't need a green light. You don't need someone's approval. You don't even need support. What you need is to look yourself in the mirror and say, no more delays, no more shortcuts, no more playing it safe. I'm going all in. Most people are addicted to the sound of their own plans. They love to talk about what they're going to do someday. They love the idea of success more than the work that creates it. Why? Because it's easier to talk than to build. Talking gives you the illusion of progress, but it delivers no results. Progress begins in silence. It begins when you stop telling everyone what's coming and start waking up earlier. It begins when you start removing distractions, eliminating time wasters, and committing to action. When you show up without needing a reason, without needing attention, and without asking for anything in return. You owe no one your roadmap, not your friends, not your parents, not the people who think they know what's best for you. If this is your life, and it is, then take control of it. People won't always understand your silence. They won't get why you're not sharing every detail. And that's okay. You're not doing this for them. You're doing it for that version of yourself, the one you think about late at night, the one you dream of becoming. That version doesn't need applause. It needs action. You can talk about growth or you can grow. You can explain where you're going or you can arrive. But you can't do both. Power lives in the quiet. Strength grows in the silence. The ones who make real moves don't spend their time convincing the world. They're too busy evolving. Ask yourself some real questions. What are you doing with your time? Are your mornings building you or breaking you? Are you strengthening your body, sharpening your mind, learning anything new? Or are you just coasting through the day, scrolling, talking, waiting? Cut the noise. Stop impressing people who aren't even pushing themselves. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand effort. Every time you open your mouth instead of move your feet, you trade growth for comfort. And every time you pick comfort, you stay stuck. Respect your goals. Respect your time. Respect your future. Because if you don't, nobody else will. You want respect? Earn it. You want to be taken seriously? Then take your work seriously first. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to talk about it. You just need to show up, again and again. Sweep your own floor. Keep your own space clean. Keep promises to yourself. Don't skip the work. Don't cut corners. Don't seek validation. Just build. No one sees it now, but one day they'll ask how you did it. And your answer will be simple. You shut your mouth and got to work. You stopped needing cheers. You stopped waiting for the perfect moment. You stopped living for approval. And you started moving. Quietly. Deliberately. You found peace in the silence. You embraced being misunderstood. And you used every quiet hour to build something so solid, so undeniable that it spoke for itself. That's power. There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't need to talk. They walk into a room and their presence says it all. That's who you can be. But only if you're tired enough of average. Tired enough of your own excuses. Tired enough of the cycle of almost. This isn't about ego. This is about work. Real work. The kind that's hard. The kind that hurts. The kind nobody claps for. But that's the kind that wins. Most people are loud about nothing. Be quiet. Build something. Build discipline. Build knowledge. Build health. Build habits. Build a life that makes people stop and ask, how did you do that? And you won't have to say a word. Because the answer will be obvious. If you want public wins, you have to survive private battles. You have to get good at showing up when no one's watching. You have to master the boring things. You have to put your head down and keep going without skipping, without complaining, without waiting for inspiration. This is your life. No one's going to hand you a better one. You earn it. Through effort. Through focus. Through daily work. No shortcuts. No noise. Just discipline. You have a choice, keep talking or start doing. One path leads to excuses. The other leads to everything you want. So stop explaining. Close your mouth. Get serious. Stay silent. Stay hungry. And build something no one can ignore. That's how you win. Quietly. Work silently on your goals every single day. That's the mindset of someone who's ready to shift their life. It doesn't sound dramatic. It won't get headlines. But it works. True growth doesn't come from bursts of motivation or public declarations. It starts the moment you replace motivation with discipline. Not once a week, not when it's easy, but every single day. Without making a scene out of it. See, most people crave the result, but they avoid the routine. They want the rewards without the repetition. They love the idea of being seen grinding, but they skip the grind when no one's watching. That's why they keep starting over. They're looking for magic when the answer is repetition. Be consistent when it's dull. Be consistent when nobody cares. Show up when it's lonely, when it's hard, when you feel like it's not even working. Because that's when it starts to work, quietly beneath the surface where it matters most. If your future is important to you, you have to treat your daily habits like they matter. Not just when you're in a good mood. Not just when life is smooth. Every day. With intention. Life rewards the relentless, not the occasional. It respects effort that doesn't pause for inconvenience. If you only show up when it's fun or comfortable, you won't last long. But if you keep moving, especially when it feels like nothing's happening, you're already ahead of most people. Find a rhythm that fits your life. Not what looks good on social media. Not someone else's perfect routine. Yours. That might mean waking up earlier. Or it might mean cutting out the things that suck your energy. Whatever it means, adjust. Adapt. Move. Don't wait for everything to align. That day doesn't exist. Begin where you are, with what you have. It might be messy. It might be slow. But movement beats stillness. Always. Start small if you have to. But start. The people who really win? They're not the ones shouting their goals from the rooftops. They're not the ones performing productivity for others. They're the quiet ones, the ones who keep showing up, who keep improving while nobody's looking. You don't see their sacrifices. You don't see their early mornings. And that's the point. It was never for show. Because when you're building something real, you don't have time to entertain the audience. You're too focused on the mission. Too focused on your vision. And here's the truth. You don't need anyone clapping for you. You just need a reason that won't disappear when the lights are off. A reason that gets you out of bed when the excitement fades. A reason that pushes you when nobody notices. Think long-term. Stop chasing immediate rewards. Stop rushing. The things that matter. Health, skill, self-respect, confidence take time. They grow slowly. They demand patience. And yes, it will feel lonely at times. People won't get it. You'll question yourself. That's part of the process. If you can move through those days, if you can show up when no one's encouraging you, that's when change becomes real. Progress is quiet at first. You won't see big shifts immediately. Others won't notice. They might even doubt you. Let them. Keep building. Don't explain yourself. Don't post your plans. Don't wait for validation. Just work. Build for you, not to impress. Not to prove. For your own standard. Your own peace. And understand this, discipline doesn't always feel good. But it feels a lot better than regret. Most people live in regret because they waited. They hesitated. They made excuses. And years passed. Don't let that be your story. Decide now. Commit now. Begin now. And accept the truth, motivation won't always be there. It's not supposed to be. That's not the goal. The goal is to keep going when it's boring, when it's tough, when it's silent. Because while motivation fades, habits remain. As you build your discipline, protect your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your routine. You don't need to justify your priorities. You don't need to reply to every question or attend every event. Stay focused. Stay quiet. This journey is yours, not theirs. And there's a quiet kind of pride that grows from showing up every day when nobody's watching. From keeping promises to yourself when it's easier to quit. From choosing long-term over comfort. That's where confidence comes from. Not from applause, not from likes, but from consistency. Eventually, people will see the change. But by then, it won't matter if they do. Because you'll already know who you are. And that's the point. You won't need praise. You'll have proof. The kind that lives in your routines, your choices, your lifestyle. You don't need louder words. You need stronger habits. You don't need more eyes on you. You need more attention on your own goals. You don't need to say what you're building. You need to build it. Step by step. Day by day. In silence. Because your best work will never be seen in the moment. It'll show later through the quality of your life. Through how you think. How you move. How you carry yourself. So work quietly. Relentlessly and let the results do the talking when the time is right. Stop performing. Start producing. That's the point where everything begins to shift, not when people finally believe in you, not when the crowd applauds, but when you stop needing any of it. When you make the quiet choice to move without an audience, to build without applause, and to evolve for yourself. Too many people waste their energy trying to be liked. They want to be understood, accepted, validated. But none of that builds anything. None of that creates results. You don't need to be understood, you need to make progress. Quiet, deliberate, personal progress. That's what counts. That's what lasts. Trying to prove yourself to the world traps you in a cycle of performance. You start sharing every goal, every update, every tiny win. Not for yourself, but for the reaction. And when that reaction fades or never comes, you lose momentum. You forget your reason why. You shift from becoming better to looking better. And that's how most people stay stuck. They stop evolving because they start performing. You don't have to win the argument. You don't have to post the proof. You don't have to be understood. Your job isn't to be right in every conversation. It's to be right with yourself. Your growth doesn't require noise. It requires work. Quiet, daily, honest work. The kind that no one sees, but that you feel changing you from the inside out. The world is full of talkers, people who say all the right things but do none of them. People who love the image of success but aren't willing to build the reality of it. They wear the mask, speak the words, but underneath, nothing's changing. No routines, no discipline, no sacrifice. Just the appearance of effort. You have to decide if that's enough for you. Or if you want more. If you want real growth, then stop chasing recognition and start chasing progress. That means cutting through the noise. Cutting out what doesn't help you. Looking at your habits and being brutally honest. Are these helping me become who I say I want to be? If the answer is no, you don't wait. You don't make excuses. You change. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Right now. Because time isn't waiting for you. Goals don't build themselves. You either work toward them or you don't. Most people spend years chasing respect from people who don't even respect themselves. They make choices to look good instead of be good. They avoid the hard path because it doesn't come with quick applause. But real growth? It's not flashy. It's not exciting. It looks like early mornings, like skipped distractions, like missed parties. It looks like sacrifice. It looks like saying no to comfort so you can say yes to progress. Doing what matters requires clarity. You can't pursue everything. You have to know what's essential and cut the rest. You have to protect your time, your focus, your mind. And once you know what matters, protect it. Don't explain it. Don't compromise. Don't look around for approval. Just guard it. It's yours. It's sacred. That's how serious people live. When you stop proving, you free yourself. You no longer seek permission. You stop needing applause. You stop trying to win over people who aren't even on your path. And in that space, something powerful happens. You start living by your own standards. You become your own motivation. You hold yourself to your goals. And you begin to walk through life with clarity that can't be shaken. Some people won't get it. Some will pull away. Some will say you've changed. And they'll be right. Because growth changes everything. You start saying no more often. You stop chasing trends. You stop entertaining conversations that don't align with your purpose. You don't move like you used to. You move with intention now. And yes, you'll lose some people along the way, but you'll find yourself. You'll find peace. You'll find direction. This path isn't about sounding impressive. It's about becoming effective. You don't have to win everyone over. You just have to stay consistent. Keep building. Keep improving. Let the results speak. Let your progress answer every doubt. You don't need their praise. You need your own respect. And that only comes from following through, from showing up when it's hard, from keeping promises to yourself when no one's watching. That's what matters. Not how many people clapped, not how many liked your post, but the life you build, the discipline you develop, the pride you earn in silence. This isn't about attention, it's about evolution. So stop trying to convince anyone. Stop chasing credit. Stop performing for a reaction. And start improving for you. Not for likes. Not for status. For growth. For strength. For the person you're becoming. One day you'll look back and realize the moment everything changed wasn't when someone finally believed in you. It was when you stopped needing them to. It was when you woke up, got quiet, and got serious. And from that moment on, nothing was the same. Build your habits and don't say a word about them. That's one of the most underrated but powerful decisions you'll ever make. Not because you're hiding. Not because you want to be mysterious. But because silence sharpens your focus. Protects your energy. Keeps your effort real. Most people sabotage their own progress by speaking too soon. They start a new habit and before it's even settled, they announce it. They talk about it. They want recognition for something they haven't fully committed to yet. And as soon as they get that little hit of approval, the hunger fades. The momentum dies. Why? Because it felt like something was already accomplished, even though nothing actually changed. Real habits aren't built in public. They're built when no one knows what you're doing. They're formed in the quiet moments, in the routine nobody sees. That's where the transformation begins. And it begins when you stop needing the world to know. You don't have to tell anyone you've started waking up early. Just do it. You don't have to share your new reading habit. Just read. You don't have to post your workout schedule. Just move. The strength of a habit doesn't come from the attention it gets. It comes from the action you repeat when nobody's watching. Silence protects your process. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you focused on what actually matters, showing up over and over, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one is clapping. Because early on, your willpower is fragile. You're still figuring things out. You're not strong in your routine yet. That's the phase when you need to protect it the most. Talking about it too soon invites distractions. It opens the door for opinions. And the moment you start thinking about how it looks instead of how it feels, you're off track. When you keep it to yourself, it's yours. Pure. Unshaken. You're not doing it to impress. You're doing it because you've made a choice to become someone better. Someone stronger. Someone more focused. You don't need validation to keep going. You don't need someone to notice for it to count. That's the point. You keep going because you said you would. You said, this matters to me. And now you're showing up. Quietly. Consistently. You don't need to post about your new diet. You don't need to show off your savings. You don't need to live your change online. Just live it. Track your progress privately. Reflect on your missteps without broadcasting them. Adjust your process in peace. You'll be surprised how fast things begin to shift when your energy is used for effort, not explanation. And something deeper happens too. You start trusting yourself. You don't need external accountability. You've made a promise to yourself and you're keeping it. That builds self-respect. That creates real, lasting confidence. Not the kind that's loud. The kind that's earned in silence. Because over time, your routine becomes part of who you are. Your mornings have structure. Your days have direction. You don't need to drag yourself into effort anymore. It becomes automatic. But that only happens if you do the hard part first. You show up when it's awkward. You stay consistent when it's inconvenient. You keep going even when the world doesn't care. Eventually, the world will notice. But by then, it won't matter. You'll be too focused on the next level. Too busy with the next habit. Too committed to your own path. You won't need to prove anything. You'll be living it. People will ask, what changed? And you won't even need to respond. They'll see it. It'll be obvious. Your life will speak for itself. That's what silent effort gives you. It gives you real results. It protects your peace. It shields you from the noise, the pressure, the need to impress. Because this is your journey. And you don't owe the world updates. You don't need to look perfect. You just need to grow. Quietly. Daily. Internally. Let your discipline become your identity. Let your transformation be undeniable. You don't need to talk about what you're doing. Just do it. You don't need to prove your progress. Live it. That's how you build strength no one can take from you. And once that strength is yours, everything changes. Take action every single day and say nothing about it. That's how you know you're serious. That's how you separate yourself from the crowd. The ones who change their lives aren't the ones constantly announcing what they're about to do. They're the ones already doing it, quietly, deliberately, without asking anyone to watch. Everyday life hands you a new chance. You don't need to broadcast your plans. You don't need to prove you're focused. Just take that chance and move forward. That's it. You don't talk about what you're building. You build it. Too many people spend more time talking than they do acting. They get addicted to the announcement. They love the idea of telling the world what's coming. But telling people doesn't equal transformation. Work does. Quiet, repeated, unglamorous work. You don't need a group chat. You don't need to check in with others. You don't need to upload a picture of your journal or gym shoes. If it matters to you, you'll do it. Not for applause. Not for approval. But because it's part of who you are becoming. That's the kind of accountability that lasts, the kind that lives inside you. If you want change, show up every day. Tired? Show up. Busy? Show up. Stressed? Show up. No excuses. No exceptions. Just presence. Just effort. Improvement comes from repetition. From structure. From doing the same small things day after day until your whole identity starts to shift. Not because you told anyone. Not because you got credit. But because you stayed the course when it wasn't fun. Don't talk about how serious you are, show it in your consistency. In your habits. In your outcomes. Actions say what words never can. People often think if it's not posted, it didn't happen. But that's a lie. The most powerful growth is invisible at first. It happens in silence. In the absence of attention. In the grind that no one claps for. You become stronger when you show up without the camera on. When you stay late and no one notices. When you practice the basics over and over until they become second nature. That's discipline. That's where the results come from. You don't need to defend your path. You don't need to explain your routine to people who don't even know what it takes to grow. Stay locked in. Stay centered. There's a kind of inner power that builds when you stop needing a reaction. When you stop needing someone else to tell you you're doing the right thing. You become your own compass. You become unshakable. You stop needing reminders. You don't look for motivation videos anymore. You've already made the decision. This isn't about feeling, it's about showing up regardless of how you feel. You don't need to prove your priorities. You live them. Quietly. Fully. With intention. Every time you take action without making a big deal about it, you reinforce your discipline. You sharpen your focus. You build a momentum that's real, not because it's seen, but because it's consistent. And the best part? It compounds. 1 focused hour becomes 10. 10 becomes 100. Before you know it, you're living in a completely different way. And people will notice. But by then, you won't need them to. Because you'll already know who you've become. Avoid distractions that pull you toward performance. Avoid people who always ask what you're working on but never build anything themselves. Avoid the pressure to post every step of your journey. Stay quiet. The less you talk, the more you can do. The less you need to show off, the more grounded your work becomes. Each day you have a choice, return to the comfort that held you back or show up again. Take that next step. No big announcement. No spotlight. Just presence. Just movement. And when you're done, move on. No need to brag. No need to show off. You did what needed to be done. That's enough. People who truly transform don't need validation. They don't need confirmation. They move differently. Because their belief isn't based on attention, it's based on action. That's the foundation of all success. Not ideas. Not promises. Not posts. Effort. Daily, focused, quiet effort. And when things get hard, and they will, don't complain. Don't search for sympathy. Just adapt. Adjust. Grow. Learn the lesson. Make the shift. Keep moving. Every hard day you push through builds your grit. Every small win you earn in silence adds confidence. Every quiet choice stacks toward becoming the person you're proud of. This life isn't about being seen doing the work. It's about doing the work and letting it shape you. Let it build your mind. Let it build your habits. Let it define the way you carry yourself. Not because you said something, but because you lived it. Take action today. Then do it again tomorrow. Then the next day. No declarations. No distractions. Just discipline. And watch how everything begins to shift. Quietly, deeply, and for good. Improve yourself. Silently. And trust your own pace. That's how true change happens. Not through loud declarations or comparisons. Not through racing others or seeking attention. But through steady, intentional movement. On your terms, at your rhythm, for your reasons. It's not about who's ahead. It's not about how fast they're moving. It's about your path, your process, your decisions. In today's world, everyone seems to be sprinting. Everyone's showcasing their progress, sharing their results, flaunting their routines. And if you're not careful, you'll start to feel behind. Like you're late, like you've failed. But behind what? Behind who? Whose timeline are you using? There's no universal clock. No deadline for success. No single way forward. The only pace that matters is your own. And you'll only understand that once you step back from the noise, once you learn how to grow without needing permission, without needing to be seen. Because silence gives you space. Space to reflect. Space to fail and figure it out. Space to work without pressure. That space is where the deepest growth happens. Not everyone needs to know what you're building. Not every step needs to be shared. Some of your best decisions will be the ones you make in private, without seeking feedback, without waiting for someone to clap, without asking if it makes sense. Because when it makes sense to your future self, the version of you who's already walking in the results, it's already right. That's what silent growth teaches you. You don't improve in silence because you don't care. You improve in silence because you care deeply. Because you're focused. Because you're not building for attention. You're building for impact. For something solid. For something that lasts. And what lasts? What stays? Consistency. Clarity. Repetition. Discipline. These don't come from performance. They come from peace. From staying in your lane. From working at your speed and trusting that your time will come. Don't rush it. Don't panic. Don't get distracted by someone else's results. Because what's fast to build can be fast to collapse. What's rushed often lacks roots. You want roots. You want a foundation built in daily effort. Built in repetition. Built in moments where nobody's watching. Because those moments, those quiet, unnoticed, uncelebrated choices are the ones that shape you. You'll have days when it feels slow. Days when progress feels invisible. That's normal. Keep going anyway. Because every day you show up, every time you choose effort over comfort, something inside you strengthens. Something changes. You may not see it now, but it's happening. You're becoming more focused. More resilient. More honest. More consistent. You're growing in ways that can't be measured yet. But soon, they'll show in your habits, your mindset, your choices. That's why you need to trust your pace. Respect where you are. Don't beat yourself up because you're not further ahead. Look at how far you've come. Look at the effort you're giving. Look at the way you've stayed in the game when others quit. Every small habit counts. Every win matters. Every step you take, no matter how quiet, is leading you towards something better. You won't always feel it. You won't always believe it. But keep walking. Keep showing up. It's not about grand moments. It's about daily movement. It's about building something real from the inside out. And when it gets messy, when you fall off, when you miss a day, don't restart with a big announcement. Just get back on track. No drama. No reset post. Just return to your rhythm. That's the power of owning your path. You're not doing it for show. You're not doing it for others. You're doing it because it matters to you. Some days you'll feel like you're standing still. Others you feel like you're behind. But the truth is, you're ahead of anyone who quit. You're ahead of anyone who stopped showing up. You're doing the hard part. The invisible part. And that's where real change lives. So protect your growth. Don't share it until it's solid. Don't invite pressure before you're ready. Don't base your worth on how fast someone else is moving. You're not behind. You're building. And when the time is right, your results will speak. Quietly. Clearly. Powerfully. Because when something is real, when something is earned, you don't need to talk about it. You just live it. Stay focused on your path and let the noise fade into the background. That's how you protect your energy, your clarity, and your mission. You cannot walk a straight line if you're constantly looking sideways. You can't build something strong if you keep stopping to answer everyone's opinion. There will always be voices. Some will question you. Some will doubt you. Some will laugh. But none of them are walking in your shoes. None of them feel what you feel, carry what you carry, or dream what you dream. You don't need to convince them. You don't need to respond. You just need to keep going. Because the moment you decide to take yourself seriously, to really commit, you'll feel resistance. Not just internally. From the outside too. People will challenge your new boundaries. They'll test your discipline. They'll try to pull you back into the version of you they're comfortable with. Don't let them. If you're not careful, their discomfort will become your hesitation. You'll start second-guessing. You'll slow your pace to match theirs. You'll lose your momentum trying to make everyone else comfortable. That's how people stay stuck. By seeking reassurance instead of staying locked into their mission. Here's the truth. Not everyone will understand your choices. They're not supposed to. This isn't their journey. It's yours. You don't need their map. You don't need their approval. You need to trust your direction. Focus is a filter. Every time you stop to argue, to explain, to prove, you're wasting energy you could be using to build. You're trading growth for noise. And the longer you do that, the further you drift from what matters. Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them misunderstand. You have a mission to protect. You weren't built to please everyone. You weren't created to follow their script. You have a unique purpose. A unique path. Stay with it. If your intentions are clear, if your goals are honest, then keep going. Even if no one claps. Even if no one gets it. Even if it feels lonely sometimes. Because the world doesn't reward explanations, it rewards outcomes. Results. Tangible change. And results come from repetition. From showing up even when it's quiet. From doing what matters, especially when no one's watching. So guard your attention. Guard your routine. Keep your habits tight and your distractions out. Not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone earns the right to speak into your journey. The stronger your focus, the quieter the world becomes. Doubt starts to fade when progress speaks for you. Opinions lose weight when you realize they were never about you anyway, they were projections. Reflections of someone else's fears, regrets, or limitations. When people criticize your direction, it's often because they don't have one of their own. Let them be confused. Let them gossip. Let them underestimate you. And you? Keep building. Keep growing. Keep sharpening. Because most people will never understand the pressure you carry. They won't see the early mornings, the late nights, the mental battles. But you do. You live them. And that's why you can't let anyone else hold the pen to your story. You get to choose what matters. You get to decide what deserves your energy. And if you keep giving that energy to distractions, to opinions, you'll never have enough left to build something meaningful. The people who win are the ones who tune out the noise. They don't chase every argument. They don't respond to every comment. They don't dilute their path just to be understood. They stay centered, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So when people don't get your work ethic, keep working. When they mock your discipline, stay disciplined. When they question your silence, stay silent. Your results will speak. Your life will be the answer. And by then, the noise won't matter anymore. You'll know what you've built. You'll know what you've become. That's the reward, not just the outcome, but the clarity, the strength, the peace. Because when you're focused, truly focused, you move differently. You think differently. You act differently. And eventually, the same people who doubted you will ask how you did it. You won't need to say a word. Let your work speak. Let your habits answer. Let your progress silence the noise. And never forget, you're not here to be liked. You're here to be great. Handle your struggles, quietly, and grow through them. Not because you have to do everything alone. Not because vulnerability is weakness. But because there's something powerful about learning to carry your own weight when life gets heavy. Strength isn't built when everything is going well. It's built when you're deep in it, when it's hard, when it hurts, when nobody's around to help or even notice. That's where real growth happens. Most people run from pain. They numb it, escape it, try to find someone to fix it for them. But some seasons of life aren't meant to be escaped. They're meant to be survived, felt, understood, and grown from. When life shakes you, it's easy to start blaming. Easy to look for someone else to lean on. But the truth is, no one feels what you feel the way you feel it. No one carries your burden like you do. And that's why leaning too heavily on others won't teach you what you need for what's coming. Because there will be harder storms ahead. There will be bigger battles. And the only way to prepare for them is to walk through the ones you're facing now. Fully, silently, intentionally. That silence? It teaches you. It reveals what you've ignored. The cracks in your mindset. The weak spots in your discipline. The habits that were holding you back. When things are easy, those flaws hide. But when life presses you, they surface. And that's your opportunity not to collapse but to confront. You won't find those lessons in books. You won't get them from motivational videos. They come from experience, from struggle, from breakdowns that lead to breakthroughs. You build grit when you don't give up even when giving up seems like the easier road. You develop resilience when you keep showing up, not because you feel strong, but because you've decided weakness isn't the end of your story. You don't have to announce your pain. You don't have to perform your struggle. Let it shape you in silence. Use it. Some pain is there to refine you, not destroy you. And not everything needs to be shared. Not every low moment needs an audience. Sometimes the healing begins when you stop explaining and start sitting with what life is trying to show you. You grow when you stop asking, why is this happening to me, and start asking, what is this building in me? Yes, there are moments for support. There's no shame in asking for help when it's needed. But don't confuse connection with dependency. Don't wait for someone else to save you. Learn how to save yourself. Because self-rescue builds something no one else can give you. Power. The more you face, the more you learn you can survive. And that knowledge becomes armor. The kind that doesn't shine. The kind that doesn't look impressive. But the kind that makes you unbreakable when the next challenge comes. You stop needing others to carry you. You stop needing everyone to understand. You start needing one thing only: progress. Your own. And here's what most people don't realize: the strength you earn through silence, through pain, through perseverance. It follows you forever. It changes the way you move. It changes the way you talk to yourself. It changes what you tolerate. You stop begging life to be easier. You just get stronger. Because you know what you've been through. You know how many times you almost quit. And now you trust yourself in ways that no applause can ever provide. And as hard as it is, that's what builds the version of you you've been waiting to meet. The version that doesn't need validation to move forward. The version that doesn't get shaken by opinions or setbacks. The version that fights through the storm even when they're standing alone in the rain. That's the power you're building when you handle your struggle in silence. Not for the world, not for attention, but for the future you who will look back and say, I made it through all of that. And I didn't fold. I didn't stop. I didn't break. I built. Let the silence shape you. Let the pain teach you. Let the struggle strengthen you. Not everything has to be seen. Sometimes the most important work is done behind closed doors. You won't need to share the story, because the strength you carry will be proof you lived it. Let your results do the talking. That's when you know you've entered a different mindset, one where action has replaced explanation and results have replaced conversation. You stop needing to tell the world what you're working on because what you're building is already saying it for you. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to drop hints or updates. You just stay locked in and the life you're shaping begins to reveal itself in ways no speech ever could. The ones who are really building? They're not the loud ones. They're the ones whose effort lives behind closed doors. Their work is quiet, disciplined, patient. Their attention is on execution, not on attention. Eventually, they outpace everyone who is busy being seen. Because when you constantly talk about what you're going to do, you start tricking yourself into thinking you've already done it. You get that tiny high from people reacting to your plans, but nothing's actually changed. Nothing's been built. The foundation is still missing. So stop trying to sound impressive. Start becoming effective. There's a rare confidence that grows inside you when you know you've been doing the work even when no one's watching. A confidence rooted in discipline, not noise. And that's the kind of confidence that lasts. You don't need to explain your every move. You don't owe anyone a status update. You're not behind if you're working. You're not late if you're building. Results don't come from sharing. They come from showing up day after day. They come from small actions done consistently, not grand speeches made occasionally. You don't need to tell people why you've gone quiet, why you don't hang out as much, why you're not posting every win. You're not distant, you're disciplined. And if they don't understand that, they're not meant to walk this part of the path with you. The real work doesn't need to be narrated. It just needs to be done. When you commit to action, the transformation begins. Quietly, slowly, but undeniably. First, it won't look like much. You'll be stacking small victories, getting up early, saying no to distractions, reading, training, practicing, saving, all the things no one notices. But give it time. Consistency compounds. And one day, those invisible choices will produce visible results. People will look at you and wonder what changed. But you'll know nothing changed suddenly. It was the work. All of it. The mornings they didn't see. The late nights. The repetition. The sacrifices. That's what built it. By the time they notice, you won't care about their attention. Because you'll already know the value of what you've created. The foundation you laid. The mindset you built. The life you stepped into by your own design. And that's why you don't rush to share. That's why you don't explain. Because you're not building for applause. You're building for freedom. Let people think you're not doing much. Let them underestimate you. It's better that way. There's peace in being underestimated. There's focus in not being watched. You're free to fail quietly. Free to pivot. Free to evolve without commentary. And when you do win, and you will win, it will be permanent. Because you didn't build it on hype. You built it on habits. You don't need a platform to speak your growth. You don't need to post your schedule. You don't need to explain your choices. You just need to keep your head down and work. Because one day your progress will become so clear, so strong, so undeniable that the world won't have to ask what you've been doing. They'll know. And not because you told them, but because your life will speak louder than any words could. So protect your focus. Honor your time. Guard your energy like it's sacred because it is, and put it where it matters most. Into action. Into repetition. Into small wins that build massive results. No more explaining. No more promising. No more waiting for the right moment to announce something. You've got work to do. And when it's done, you won't have to say a thing. They'll see it. Win without announcing a single move. That's not just a tactic. It's a mindset. It's a way of life built on maturity, clarity, and absolute focus. When you truly understand how success works, you stop broadcasting every step. Because real success doesn't seek a spotlight. It doesn't perform. It builds. Quietly, steadily, relentlessly. The ones who win big are rarely the loudest in the room. They're not the ones updating every achievement or hyping every small change. They're the ones too busy doing the work to even think about making noise. Small steps taken daily without interruption, without permission. That's what creates a massive shift. It's not the flashy move, it's the consistent one. And the more you talk, the more time you spend trying to be seen, the less time you're actually moving forward. Talking gives you a shortcut high. You say you're going to do something and people respond. You feel seen. You feel validated. But that feeling is a counterfeit version of the real thing. It's not the same as actually doing the work. And it never lasts. So don't fall into the trap of premature celebration. Don't exchange discipline for a dopamine hit. Every time you post about what you're planning, you leak power. That energy could have gone into execution. Winners don't trade effort for attention. They build in silence and let the results shout. When you win without saying a word, your first reward is internal. You don't need a comment section to keep you going. You don't need likes to feel valuable. You're grounded in your own vision. That kind of motivation isn't based on pressure, it's built on purpose. You move because you chose to move. And when the victory finally comes, when the habits stack up, when the changes show, when the transformation is real, you won't need to explain it. The outcome will be undeniable. It will speak for itself. People will feel it in how you carry yourself. They'll see it in how you show up. They'll notice the peace, the control, the focus. Not because you told them to look, but because it's impossible to ignore. And in that moment, you won't be celebrating to prove anything. You'll be celebrating because you kept a promise to yourself. That's the reward, the progress, the peace, the freedom. You didn't win to flex. You won because you refused to quit. And here's the thing, winning in silence teaches you humility. You're not out to provoke anyone. You're not here to show off. You've outgrown that. You've matured past the need to be loud about what you're doing. You're simply here to keep going. To level up without permission. To rise without noise. To build a life that's rooted in discipline and not distracted by applause. You don't owe anyone your blueprint. You don't need to break down your process. The details, the long nights, the sacrifices, the things you gave up, those belong to you. They were personal. Sacred. They built you. That's why the reward feels different. You didn't skip steps. You didn't fake progress. You paid full price, and that receipt lives in your routines. Winning without announcing also protects your mission. When people don't know what you're building, They can't distract you. They can't doubt you. They can't derail you. They can't throw shade on what they don't see. Your silence becomes your shield. While others are chasing visibility, you're building in the dark. You're mastering your habits. You're refining your craft. You're eliminating what doesn't matter. And over time, that discipline becomes part of who you are. You stop moving based on what the world sees. You move because of what you see, what you know is possible. Your motivation becomes internal. You hold yourself accountable. You don't rely on outside pressure. You don't need a support group to stay on track. You've become your own structure. And when you live like that, you gain something most people never find: control. You know when to speak and when to stay silent. You know when to act and when to wait. You know how to pivot with clarity, not panic. Because you're not living for noise, you're living for results. You start realizing that not everyone deserves access to your next move. Not everyone is ready for what you're building. And that's okay. You're not building it for them. You're building it because you refuse to settle for less than who you can become. And as you keep winning quietly, something else happens. You start loving the work, the discipline, the routine. Not because anyone sees it, but because it transforms you. You wake up sharper. You move with purpose. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop waiting for the right time. You just move. You just grow. You just build. One day they'll call it overnight success. But you'll know the truth. It happened in silence. It happened in early mornings and late nights. In ignored opinions. In skipped distractions. In small steps that added up when nobody was watching. And when the world finally sees what you've become, you'll smile quietly. Because you didn't just win. You won with discipline. You won with patience. You won with consistency. And you didn't need to say a word. Thank you for staying consistent through all 10 parts. Here's the final section, part 10, rewritten with the same depth, structure, and emotional tone as the rest of the series. The biggest shift in your life won't be the day someone gives you permission. It won't be the day the world claps for you. It'll be the day you stop needing either. The day you realize no one's coming to push you, save you, or validate you, and you stand up anyway. That's the day everything changes. That's the day you stop performing and start living. That's the day you stop reacting and start creating. You don't need a louder voice. You need stronger discipline. You don't need more opinions. You need fewer distractions. You don't need to talk about your future. You need to live like it matters. This world has enough people trying to be seen. Enough people chasing applause, chasing moments, chasing noise. Be different. Be the one who goes silent, goes deep, and does the real work. Because results don't lie. They never need explaining. They don't care who doubted you. They don't care who walked away. They don't care how long it took. They just show up loud, clear, undeniable because you kept showing up when it was hard, when it was lonely, when it wasn't fair. This is how you win. Quietly. Consistently. With no need to prove anything. With no one to impress. With only one mission. Become the version of yourself that no longer needs permission. That no longer needs to post about progress. That no longer needs the audience to believe in the outcome. Because the outcome already exists. It's in your calendar. In your routines. In your eyes. In your voice. It's in the way you carry yourself now. In the choices you make when no one's watching. That's the final stage of growth. When you no longer explain the journey. You walk it. And when people ask how it happened, you don't have to say a word. They'll already know. You didn't chase the spotlight. You didn't demand attention. You didn't play the game. You just moved. And that movement changed everything. Because in the end, it's not about what they think. It's about what you build. And whether or not it lasts. And the only things that last, the only victories that matter, are the ones built with your own hands, through your own effort, in the quiet hours when no one else was there. So keep building. Keep moving. Keep showing up. Not for them. For you. Always for you.